Can cheap markers really be good for colouring books? I'll be testing a brand of affordable alcohol markers called Colpart to see if they can hold up to the needs of a budding artist or someone who just wants to have a relaxing colouring session. First impressions? The packaging isn't fancy, but they feel comfortable in the hand. With a blend of shades that are included in a good range of different tones and primaries and subtle pastels, I thought, alright, Colpart, show me what you've got. The first time I tried these markers, I wanted to go in without any expectations. I swatched all the colours in my sketchbook. This set has 120 markers. I noticed that they had a colour called 169 colour that was meant to be in the set, but it was missing, and instead I got the 182 colour, which wasn't even on the chart, which I felt was really weird. Immediately I noticed that the ink flow was surprisingly smooth, and they were a little bit streaky, but not too much. So I have used Ohuhu markers in the past, and they are better at not being streaky. Next, I tried some blending. If you've ever worked with alcohol markers, you know that blending can be tricky, and often cheap markers don't keep up. But I could get a decent blend with a little bit of patience. Now, to be honest with you, no product is perfect, and Colpart has its flaws. And one of the things I quickly noticed was that these markers tend to bleed more than the Ohuhu markers. This is common with alcohol markers in general, so this is not entirely Colpart's fault, but it's worth noting if you use standard colouring books. Another downside is that these markers don't have the greatest colour accuracy. Some of the shades were a little bit off compared to their colour cap, which can be a little bit frustrating when you're trying to match colours for a specific look. So for casual colouring practice, it's not a deal breaker, but someone who is creating serious art, this might be a deal breaker. With Colpart markers, I also noticed that the darker colours could look a little bit flat if applied too heavily, but if carefully layered, it can have a nice shadow. If you're thinking about creating or colouring in colouring books, Colpart might just be the thing that helps you get started without feeling intimidated by cost or perfection. If you're an artist, beginner, or someone who just loves the colour, these markers can be a fantastic way to delve into the world of colouring without spending too much. It reminded me of my own journey and how far I've come. Because it's not about having the best materials, it's about creating. So whether you're using Colpart or something else entirely, keep pushing yourself to experiment and having fun. And most importantly, keep having fun with it. So can cheap markers really be good for colouring books? My answer is absolutely. They may not be perfect, but they offer an accessible way to practice, play and explore, which is essential for art. And hey, they're good enough for me, and I use it on my own colouring books. They might be a perfect choice for you too. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about how to use alcohol markers, I have a separate video dedicated to this entire topic in even more depth, so make sure you watch that video next.